You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hello and welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello to all my Lolas out there. Guys, this is the third episode in our yelling series, and it's also the final episode in our yelling series. We made it to part 3. And if you've been here since part 1, I want to say thank you. This series has been one of the favorite things I've done. Being able to stick with this topic for 3 weeks and really going in deep with you has been so cool. And we've covered a lot of ground. In part 1, we talked about why you keep yelling even when you promised you'd stop. And we reframed yelling as a character flaw and instead it being a signal in your body. In part 2, we got into the body with that box breathing, the rushing cue from Jenna Free, and the bigger conversation about hormones and neurodiversity and biology that so many women I find when they dig into it, they find so many answers to what's actually going on. Today's the finale. I saved the best for last because today we are talking about what happens after you yell. Not the guilt. You know the guilt really well already. We're going to talk about repair because so many moms I talk to feel so guilty about yelling that they miss this amazing step that can completely change your relationship with your kids and with anyone who you may lose it with. This is where the real relationship gets built. And that's what we're going to cover today. So let's get on with the show. So I want to tell you something about rupture and repair. It's from attachment theory, and it's honestly going to make you feel so much better when you yell, because I don't want you to get stuck in this nonstop guilt cycle when you yell, when the shame just feels overwhelming, that you can't even move on from it, that you just kind of ignore your yelling like it never happened. This step is first, it's going to get you more into control of your yelling because you're going to have kind of a closure to the system. And second, it's going to build a better relationship with your kids. And third, if I can give you a third, it teaches your kids how to apologize. It teaches your kids to apologize in a real, authentic way that doesn't need you to say, oh, you should go apologize right now. No, you're actually going to model it for them. And that's the most powerful teaching you can do, when you model something and then your kids are able to follow suit. So no, that is not yelling that causes most of the issues in relationships. It's the absence of repair. When repair exists, everything gets better. That's what creates the long-term relationship. What creates long-term harm with kids in yelling is when kids learn that after conflict, nothing gets addressed. No one talks about it. The relationship just moves on as if it didn't happen. Like, that's the part that teaches kids that conflict is something to avoid or fear, not something that you can move through. I mean, you probably got those messages yourself when you were younger. I know I did. I know, like, my parents didn't know what to do. When you don't know what to do, you don't know what to teach and model for your kids. That's why it's so exceptional that you are here showing up and you are here listening to this podcast and you are learning what to do to put into practice in your own life so that future generations know how to repair a relationship. When you repair, this is when you go back to your child and you take ownership and say what you're going to work on. You are teaching them one of the most important life skills ever. You're teaching them that people who love each other can hurt each other and still come back together. That's not a broken relationship. That is a real relationship. And a mom who repairs consistently is doing something a mom who never yells but also never addresses conflict cannot do. She is modeling recovery, and that is a gift. And know that you don't necessarily have to yell to repair. There are so many situations that repair can really fix the relationship, can really help move the situation forward, can really teach your kids so much. I use repair constantly. I feel like I have to repair every week or so for something that I did. I'm going to give you a lot of examples of that in this podcast. So I want to take you back to that part 1 of this yelling series. Remember when I said you woke up this morning and you promised yourself today would be different, and then it happened again? I want to come back to that mom right now, to the mom who's listening to this and is at the end of a hard day, who has already lost it today, who is already in the guilt spiral. This episode is for you. And what you do next matters more than what just happened, okay? We're moving forward. So let's teach you the exact framework for repair. Summer is almost here, and I have a whole list of things I want to do with my family. I just want to make sure our money is organized so I can say yes to the things that actually matter and not wonder where it went in September. That's the goal. Intentional spending, not anxious spending. That's where Monarch comes in. And here's what I need you to know right now. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings goals, and spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core for half off, just $50 with promo code NOGUILT. And this is why I think it's so amazing. The AI weekly recap gives me a heads up on what's happening with my money before anything sneaks up on me. It flags spending spikes, net worth shifts, upcoming expenses. It's like a calm little check-in every week so nothing catches me off guard. And you can ask Monarch's AI assistant anything about your finances, anything. I literally asked it how much we spent on travel last summer, and it just told me. That kind of clarity is everything when you're planning ahead. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. You know what I just realized? I have trips on the calendar this summer, and I have been completely ignoring the most important question. What am I actually going to wear on the plane? Because here's the thing. I want to look cute on the plane. I don't want to be in like mismatched sweats, but I also want to feel like I am wrapped in a cloud for 5 hours. I want to be comfortable. It feels impossible, right? That is where Quince comes in. And honestly, I keep coming back to them because they make it so easy. Quince has these beautiful everyday pieces like 100% European linen pants, dresses, and tops with styles starting at just $32. And everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands because they work directly with ethical factories and skip the middleman markup entirely. You're paying for quality, not a logo. I just ordered the Cloud Comfort wide leg pants for my trip, and I am genuinely so excited about these. They look really cute, and they are way, way less than similar pants I've seen elsewhere. Comfy and adorable. That is a win I did not even know I needed. Elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/NGM for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/NGM for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/NGM. You know that thing where you're doing all the right things, eating your veggies, getting your kids to actually eat theirs, staying hydrated, and you still feel kind of off? Yeah, me too. Turns out most of us have small nutrient gaps we don't even know about. And with our packed schedules, it's honestly really hard to cover all the bases through food alone. That's what led me to First Day. And honestly, it has become one of my favorite parts of the morning. I actually look forward to taking my vitamins, which if you know me and how many supplements I take, it's saying a lot. They are so good and I never forget them. No nagging myself, no skipping, just 2 gummies and done. What I love most is that they actually make different formulas for toddlers, kids, teens, and adults. So it's tailored to your stage of life. It's a blend of 21 organic superfoods and 9 key vitamins with no added sugars, no artificial dyes, nothing sketchy. They test for 200 plus toxins and have the Clean Label Purity Award, so you feel really good about what you're giving your family. Over 1 million families have already started using first day, and they back it with a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there's zero risk. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting an insane deal. Use code NGM to get up to 57% off at firstday.com. That's up to 57% off and a free gift with code NGM at firstday.com. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Okay, it comes in 3 steps. Step 1 is to be humble and apologize. Step 2 is to take complete ownership. And step 3 is to say what you'll work on in the future. Let's dig into each of those in depth so you know exactly what it looks like. I'm going to give you lots of examples in here so you're completely clear. Okay. And I have actually a freebie for you at the end that gives you all of these steps and also gives you all of these phrases that I'm going to say. So if you want that freebie now, just go to my Instagram at NoGuiltMom and DM me the word repair. Just DM me that word and I will send you it. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. You could just listen, soak it all in, and start repairing. So here it is. Step 1, be humble and apologize. Guys, this is the hardest thing, especially if we did not grow up around adults who apologize to us. If we saw that the role of an adult was to always be right and we were at fault for everything, and to never apologize, I mean, this step's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to feel weird. And I have to tell you, like, it is worth it. It is so worth it. The benefits I have seen from apologizing to both of my kids is that first, they apologize to me in return. Usually. Second, when I follow these steps, they actually hear me. They hear what I say. They're not fighting against me because of some specific things that I do and I don't do during it, which we're getting into, but they hear me. And then the third thing is that it makes long-term change. The same situation doesn't happen over and over and over again. It makes the change. So the first thing you do is just apologize. And I know that sounds really obvious, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And most of us were never taught the right way. Apologizing to your kids does not make you weak. I want to say that again. Apologizing to your kids does not make you weak. It makes you someone they can trust. And here's what's amazing. When you apologize consistently and genuinely, like I said, they start apologizing to you more. Not because you told them to, because they've seen what it looks like. So for this, let's keep it really, really simple. You don't need a speech. Here are some examples of what this be humble and apologize sounds like. I'm sorry for losing my temper. I'm sorry I yelled when the milk fell on the floor. I'm sorry I got snippy when you kept asking me to go to Starbucks. Now, notice that I was very short. I was specific with what happened and I was clean. I was no explanations, no justifications. And I was also pretty intentional about my word choice. Notice I'm sorry I yelled when the milk fell on the floor. I didn't say, I'm sorry I yelled when you were so klutzy and that spilled the milk on the floor. That's not an apology. That's placing blame right there. The same with, I'm sorry for losing my temper. I didn't say, I'm sorry I lost my temper when you didn't listen to me for the 5th time today. It's not an apology. Or I'm sorry I got snippy when you kept asking me to go to Starbucks. I could have turned that many ways. In fact, I bet I could think of a better intentional way to say that sentence. I'm sorry I got snippy after the repeated requests to go to Starbucks. I take the you out of it. Or I'm sorry I got snippy when being asked to go to Starbucks. That could take the you out of it as well. The main thing I'm trying to do in this be humble and apologize is that I do not want to put my child in a situation where they feel like they need to be defensive, where they feel like they need to defend their actions against what I just said, because that would go completely counter to this entire repair process. I also need to tell you the one rule. It's the but rule. Do not let the word but into your apology. Now, I gave you some examples above that were not apologies and did not have the word but. Don't use those. The moment you say, I'm sorry I yelled at you, but you should have picked up your toys, it is not an apology any longer. You have just taken back the apology. You have made your kid responsible for the entire situation, saying that, oh, well, I yelled, but only because you didn't pick up your toys. The kid is hearing, it's my fault. I didn't pick up my toys, and that's why my parent yelled at me. I am at fault here. And that's not what the apology is for. Now they're on the defensive instead of feeling the repair. So no but, no justification, no but, just a full stop, complete sentence apology. The second step, take complete ownership. Okay, this step is where most moms get stuck because taking ownership feels like admitting you were wrong about everything. You're always wrong about everything. Nobody respects you. That's not what it is. Like, it feels like you're letting your kid off the hook for their behavior. But that's not what ownership means. Taking ownership means you only talk about your behavior, not theirs. You only take responsibility for what you did, not what led you to do it. You acknowledge your role, your contribution in the rupture without assigning fault for the whole situation. And here's why this works so well, because when you only talk about your own behavior, your child has nothing to defend against. There is no argument to win. The defensiveness drops and they can actually hear you. So here's what complete ownership sounds like. I was upset about something earlier in the day, and I'm really sorry I took it out on you. I was irritated from being asked so many times, and I should have spoken up sooner. I felt really sad and tired today, and you aren't the cause of that. I mean, feel how that hits you. If anyone said those things to you, you would probably feel immediately like lighter. You would feel less sad. You would feel like, oh my gosh, this person actually knows what happened. And there's a reason they're attributing for what happened. This is really different than going to someone and being like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with me. That doesn't give you the same sense of confidence in the situation, especially as a kid, as being really specific as to the cause of your rupture. And if you don't know the cause of your rupture, that's the time to start digging and start figuring it out. Because if this is happening over and over again and your response is, I'm sorry, I don't know what's gotten into me, there's some work you have to do, friend. And it's completely okay to do that work. I know that you might be afraid of doing that work. You might be afraid you find something wrong. And what I'm telling you is that there are so many people around you to support you, but they don't know how. And if you did a little digging and figured out what exactly is bothering you, they can help you in so many ways, so many ways. So notice what the sentences that I said before have in common. They name your emotional state. They acknowledge that you directed it at your child, and they don't say a single thing about what your child did wrong. That is ownership. And as a side benefit, when your child watches you do this consistently, they learn to do it too. You are literally teaching them how to take responsibility just by modeling it. You don't have to teach them any other way than by doing it yourself. And that's huge. Imagine if in your life people took ownership over their side of the conflict. How much lighter would that feel for you? How much more would you feel seen without having to manage everybody's expectations or manage every single conflict that came along? Because I have to tell you, this ownership only works if both people take ownership in the situation. Now, there is a bit of a caveat there because kids are kids and they don't yet know how to take ownership over the situation. If you find that after this discussion and conversation with your child, they don't apologize for their part in it, it might upset you. Reasonably so. And in that situation, I encourage you to give it a beat, give yourself some time. And when you can come and talk to your child and be like, hey, I just want to talk to you about something about how to apologize. I've never taught you this before, so you don't know how, and that's completely okay. Let me teach you this. And you can teach them the exact steps you're learning right now.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get The best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Okay, so we talked about step 1, stay humble and apologize. Step 2, take complete ownership. Now let's talk about step 3, say what you'll work on in the future. Because step 3 is one that transforms an apology into an actual commitment. And it's the step that most people skip, which is why the pattern keeps repeating. If you are in a situation where you're consistently losing it, and you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. The commitment's missing. This is the step to add in, because an apology without the expectation of change is just words. Kids are smart. They know the difference between a mom who is genuinely reckoning with something and a mom who is saying the right thing so everyone can move on. When you add this third piece, when you say that what you're actually working on, you're making a promise, and following through on that promise is what builds trust over time. So here's what it sounds like. Something like, I'm going to work on taking a deep breath when I feel angry. Or if you're listening to this, when I feel rushed, like we learned in part 2, right? I'll work on telling you how I feel before I yell. I'm going to work on telling you when I'm angry and stepping into another room to calm down. Do you see? Those are actual things that your child can then work on keeping you accountable for. They could be like, hey, mom, you look like you're getting a little bit angry. Do you need to step in the other room? And I hope that you take this with a little bit of a giggle, because it is really funny when your kids start noticing the things you want to work on and they help you work on it. They help you get there. It is a team effort, because notice these are all I'm going to work on. Not that I'll never yell again, because you can't keep that promise. Like, I can't keep that promise. I can't say I'm never going to lose my temper from time to time. Who knows what'll make me lose my temper? I mean, I work really, really hard on this, but there could be a situation where maybe I'm having the worst day in the entire world, a day I never even anticipated happening, and I just lose it. I know how to repair, so it's okay. And that's why in this step of saying what you'll work on in the future, it is a commitment to then now, with what you just learned in the situation you were in, what you're going to do next. So those 3 steps, being humble and apologizing, taking complete ownership, saying what you're going to work on. Let's talk about what that sounds like all together, because I want you to hear what a repair actually sounds like in one conversation. Imagine you just yelled at your daughter about her room. You've had a long day. You asked twice, and on the third ask, you just lost it. Here's what the repair could sound like an hour or 2 later when everyone's calm. Hey, I want to talk with you about what happened earlier. I'm sorry I yelled at you about your room. That's not how I want to talk to you. There's the apology. I was already feeling really frustrated from the day, and I took it out on you instead of saying that. That wasn't fair. There's your ownership. I'm going to work on telling you when I'm reaching my limit before I get to that point. There's what you're working on. I love you. That's it. That took less than a minute. There's no questioning. There's no, how do you feel about that? You're just going to let it land. And maybe it'll be silent. Maybe your daughter won't be ready to talk to you yet, and that's okay. And remember, if you feel it deep within you, go back to part 2 about that section on rejection and how it's okay to feel those feelings. And it's normal. And there are other people who feel rejection just as deeply. But give that space and allow your child to open up when they feel ready. It may not be that night. Maybe it's the next morning. But know that you just did the best thing you can do by going in and showing repair. And I have to be honest with you here. Because if you've been yelling and losing it for a while, it's going to take some time for your kids to believe that this is a new step, that this is the change, that this is going to make the difference. And that is okay, that time that it takes. If you need help, by the way, working on these things, that is what the inner circle here at No Guilt Mom is for. That is what our Lotus curriculum is for. It takes you through the steps so that you can start concentrating on your own reactions, learn how to communicate, and making those commitments onto what you want to change in your life. All guided, all supported. I have the link for you down there in the show notes. That's what we do there. So now let's come all the way back. 3 weeks ago, I asked you to picture the mom who woke up and promised herself today would be different. We've spent 3 episodes with her. In part 1, we told her the yelling is not who you are. It's a signal from your nervous system, and it's driven by meaning, not by malice or any malintention on your part. In part 2, we gave her the tools, the Russian cue, the box breathing, and the bigger conversation about biology and hormones and neurodiversity. And then today in part 3, we told her, even when it happens anyway, even when you yell again next Tuesday, you know exactly what to do. You apologize, you take ownership, you say what you'll work on, and you close the loop. That mom is not a bad mom. She's never was. This is a mom who is working on it. And that's enough. Now, I have that freebie for you that I mentioned earlier, and it goes right along with today's episode. It has all of those steps lined up for you. It gives you all the scripts, all the example phrases. You can just go and DM me at No Guilt Mom on Instagram. DM me the word repair, and I will send it right to you so you can have it by your side. And if you've been listening to this series on Spotify and you haven't hit follow yet, please do that right now. It's the best way to make sure that you never miss an episode, and it genuinely helps me reach more moms who need this. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. It means a lot. Thank you for spending these 3 weeks with me here in the Yelling series. So many more No Guilt Mom podcast episodes coming your way. And again, if you want to work on these things, come join us in the inner circle. That is where these real changes happen. That is where moms came in feeling horrible about themselves as parents. And once they graduate with their Lotus Award, they're lighter. They feel like they got this. Their confidence is through the roof. I want you to be like that too. Remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and I'll talk with you later.
Monday.com AI agents took over my work, and I absolutely love it. Chasing deadlines, writing status reports, updating stakeholders. Agents handle the daily grind now. I stay in the loop only when it matters. Create your own AI agent in minutes on Monday.com.